Hello and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings, the Let's Play Blind with Neo Rambler. Right then, we are pretty much now on the home stretch. Basically what I've done is start a new game, and basically so far I'm on chapter 2, and so far every title of the chapter, you know, chapter 1, chapter 2 and all that stuff, every title page that you see with one of those tarot cards has so far only had the card Enlightenment with sort of angelic sort of godly-esque dragon on the card. I may have a chance to show you it in a bit. What I'm doing at the moment is just sort of skipping ahead a little bit to get to the point whereby we're going to the fireworks, because apparently now that we've done all the storylines for all the main characters, there's only one option left that we should get by the time we reach that point. But before we do, somebody mentioned in the comments ages ago and previous that we need to actually meet with Amira, because there is a side story with Amira, and I don't think I've done it. So there's an option here to meet with Amira. So we're going to have a look and see what it's all about, see if we can do her storyline in this well, playthrough, I suppose. But even so, by the time we get to the end of it, we should hopefully start getting the true ending then. I've been told the true ending goes on for quite a while, so we shall see how that turns out. Now, we might have seen this before. I'm just going to go through this again. If I suddenly realise I've seen it before, I'll speed it up ahead. But I don't think I have it with the mayor properly. Maybe once, maybe this time, I don't know. But let's just remind ourselves or experience this for the first time. This doesn't look familiar to me, but again, it's been long gaps in between videos, so I could be wrong. What a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect you to take me up on my offer. I'm sure you're a very busy person. Well, I have no doubt the same is true for you. I'm sorry I have to say this, but I won't have much time for you today. As edifying as your visit is no doubt going to be, I have a meeting to attend shortly. However, I'm so grateful you came to visit. I'm sure someone of your standing is always busy. Thank you for taking the time to meet me. Charming as always, aren't you? So what exactly is this? Official meeting? Trade negotiation? Oh please, it's just two people having a conversation. After all, we still owe you for the PDA devices you gave us, so until we deliver our part, there's nothing to negotiate. I see. If it was up to me, though, I'd rather listen to you all day than having to work through this stack of paperwork. Is it really all that boring? Well, sometimes. It's just an unpleasant part of the job. I suppose in the end, working as the Minister of Culture and Arts involves just as much paperwork as any other bureaucratic position. On some days, I have to keep reminding myself that there are actual people and problems behind those numbers, and those are the people I'm responsible for. One mistake, and those people turn against you faster than something that is very fast. That's why I prefer to go where the people are rather than being stuck back here. It makes things much clearer than the abstraction of words and numbers. Is that what this is for you? A game? A popularity contest? I may use the law, Neo Ramble, but I don't break it. As much as I may dislike it, a game is certainly what this is. When I came into office, it didn't take long for me to realise that you can't win if you don't play. Ellipses. I wonder if she saw that science fiction movie from the 80s or 90s. I forget what it's called, but it's the one with the computer that goes to launch all the nukes, and then they challenge it to a scenario thing, and then it works out that the only way to win is not to play in the first place. And then no nukes are launched and everybody's happy. I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to be very good. Countdown, is it? Or something like that? I don't know. I could be wrong. Let me ask one thing, Neo Ramble. Do you enjoy your work as ambassador? I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Work doesn't have to be enjoyable. I don't really know. I'm going to go with the bottom one, to be honest here. Work doesn't have to be enjoyable, but it can still be fulfilling. That's especially true for what I'm doing right now. Indeed, that doesn't sound like you enjoy your job very much, though. Well, I look at it this way. Just one time I haven't been on the council and I'll have left my mark. One time I've been stuck behind the desk with my paperwork. At least I get to do something where I can make a difference, even if that doesn't happen very often. Culture and arts don't exactly give me much room for doing what I'd want to do, you know. Still, I prefer stacks of papers and meetings to working in a mine and pulling carts or logs or whatever else they have as earth dragons typically do. When I look at those who have to do hard labour, or hard manual labour even, I can't help but feel empathy towards them. I'm impressed by the tenacity to work in conditions that I would never want to. I wish to help them with culture and art. Nothing practical, just culture and art. Even though that, I suppose that could be interpreted practical, but you know what I mean. What about those who enjoy that kind of work? Sure, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those like myself who are just not cut out for that kind of job. Being in charge of your visit in this world, however, has been quite an opportunity. Was it just that? An opportunity? Couldn't it not have been something special? Of course not. I have been a staunch believer in humanism for a long time. Humanism? The belief in humans and their contribution to our existence. Ah, you're one of those religious nut jobs. I see. That's cool, as long as it makes you happy. Might not make me happy, but, you know, we all have our differences, and that's not against the law. Yet. Some people say I only took this as matter into my hands as another publicity stunt, but I can assure you my feelings on the matter are genuine regardless. Pun intended. I would argue that making it a public spectacle only confirms my position on the matter. In the end, I don't have any hard feelings, because I know the critics are only another part of the job I have to deal with. And I had to have a very delicate operation on my female bits, and it makes it difficult for me to get hard, if you know what I mean. You should see how quick they are to jump at my throat and second-guess every decision I've ever made. How ironic is it for people like that to have a platform where they can spout their opinions when I'm the one making all the hard decisions? Well, yeah, that's why it's so hard, because you have to pick which ones you're going to piss off first. It's always tricky. It doesn't matter, though. I know that I will never please anyone. Or everyone, even. But my numbers do speak for themselves. In the end, it's all just a great self-sacrifice to make a difference. Is that why you became a politician? I'd like to think it was all preordained. My parents were the vehicle so I could get this far. I always knew I was destined for greatness, just like my parents before me. However, they thought I would need to work hard like them to get there. That's where they were mistaken. I grew up as an only child in a village mostly known for its mining industry. My father was a very business-minded individual. He worked hard to provide for us and advance his career, whereas my mother was more of a spiritual person. After years of saving up, including benefits, they combined their interests and created a new business out of nothing, a gamble that paid off handsomely. I did what was expected of me. I studied and worked hard until I became to resent it. By that point, I was at crossroads in regards to my future career. My parents wanted me to continue my studies, but I decided against doing that. Studying and working hard so that I may study and work hard ad infinitum wasn't something that was particularly appealing to me. No, fair enough. In the end, I didn't see the difference between working hard at the mines and studying perpetually. Instead, I started to look for alternative options. There was an opening for a political position. I decided to seize the opportunity and applied for it. At the time, I wasn't sure whether to be surprised at the fact that I got the position, but if I look back at it now, it certainly shouldn't have. I was very qualified for the job, but I also have a feeling that my parents might have persuaded those in power because they knew this would be another step up for our family. Persuaded them? How? This is only speculation, of course, but I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that, no matter if it was with words, gifts, or something else. How's that worked out for you? Now that I'm here, the stacks of books have merely been replaced by stacks of paperwork. At least I am popular then. Are you really? I know that I am polarizing, but why try to please everyone and accomplish nothing when I know it's possible to please everyone in the first place? That's a very good point. Very good point. It's a departure from the usual way of thinking, but while not liked by everyone, some of my moves have been lauded by a great majority. My strategy is to take risks that may or may not pay off when I know I have nothing to lose, rather than playing it safe and just perpetuating the status quo. You have nothing to lose? All I seem to be doing is just questioning. I am not afraid of political suicide because I don't value the position itself. I only value the opportunities I'm given while having this power. So as long as I have it, I shall use it till I no longer can do so. That's perfectly fine in my books. My approach has been called daring or brave, just as much as it has been derided by others who don't like what I'm doing. Yes, kind of like what's going on in the UK government at the moment. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Stupid government. I'm not sure that this will start a trend or if there will be others who will follow suit, but either way I'll be glad once my term is over. What are you going to do then? Well, people who have been on the council usually don't have trouble finding a job to their liking, but I wouldn't even need to do that. I'm settled for life and could retire now if I wanted to. Is that what you'd like to do? I already feel like I have left my mark and seen everything there is to see in the political landscape, so once this is over, I'd like to settle down for good and start a family. Oh, fair enough. Really? Question mark. I'm getting very good at this questioning. I'm an only child. My parents want me to make them some grandchildren and to continue the lineage, so all that responsibility rests on me now I've proven my worth. Is that what you'd like to do as well? Questions? God, Neo, god damn it, man. You can... I know what he's doing. I guess in a way this is like a satirical take on politicians, whereby you ask them a question and they answer back with another question. It's kind of like that sort of... This is a satirical take on politics. It's quite clever. In this case, I'll have to agree with them. Frankly, I'm tired of all the work. More so than ever before. Besides, it would be a shame to let everything they built go to waste, don't you think? What's that supposed to mean? I'm talking about our family fortune, of course. And what would a family fortune be without a family? I see. Statement. The funny thing is, they were never like this when I was growing up. It was only after they made it big that they started getting all self-important about it. Illusions of grandeur included. Now that I'm getting older, I'm sad to say that it's not exactly getting easier. I probably would have had better chances if I started a family first and tried to have a career afterwards. Nah, you tend to, when it comes to those sort of decisions, one tends to dominate the other, even if you end up dicking the other one over to get the other one dominated. You can't do both that easily. But people do, don't get me wrong, I know people have done, but even then, when you look back at it all, I bet you the money they'll say, well, I was a bit lucky here. Well, I might have had help with that. Well, I might have dumped the kids off with a nanny for several years. It's just difficult, but not undoable, you know? It's either you get an expert at something or be a jack of all trades. It's that kind of situation. Why is that? Being known like I am has made me popular, but it's making things complicated on the relationship front. On the one hand, there are those that immediately disregard me due to my public image or my politics. On the other, we have those that are only interested in me because of being well known. In a way, I'm getting evaluated before I even have a chance to getting to know someone, or before they get to know the person behind the politics. No matter how positive or negative, these snap judgments create a sort of proto-relationship that I have no input in and causes them to have certain expectations and opinions about me. I suppose you can't change someone's mind if they've already made it up. Oh, you can. It's just not an easy thing to do. Well, that dating isn't already complicated enough as it is. This is why I've stayed out of it. It's just games now. I mean, it probably was games back then, but I think back then we were a bit more naive and a bit more lovey-dovey. It wasn't always perfect, mind you, and a lot of times it ended in tragedy, but it was still more exciting and fun and voracious, whereas now it's all stats and numbers and pictures and Facebook scores. Boring. I mean, I suppose you could argue it's a way of evolution, but it's just I like to meet someone who's confident with guns and just basically says fuck you to the world and just is very comfortably sexy about it. That's the sort of person I like. Not that they're not deep or anything, but just, you know, they have their own opinion and it's interesting. But it'll be easier once your term is over. People may not recognise you as much. And maybe it doesn't also help that there's a rather limited selection for prospective fathers in this town. I didn't even consider that. Why even choose a father? You could choose another lady, try lesbianism. You can even have babies now where they take a cell from one partner, the egg from the other partner, and then the cell from the one partner is modified to act like a sperm cell, and then they inject it into the egg and stick the egg in the woman's ovary, and then boom, baby! Or in test tubes or whatever. The only downside to it though, from what I gather, is that the cell that you get from the one partner and convert it to sperm data, it's already old, like it's aged, whereas with the sperm cell it's fresh still. So I don't know if there's any sort of potential growth deficiencies out of it. Not mental deficiencies per se, but like it's a bit like cloning in a way, you know? But it's not really cloning because you're making a baby. If you've played Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3 and 4, you'll sort of know the storyline behind Solid Snake and Liquid Snake and the Super Baby stuff. If you haven't, I don't blame you, because it's a terribly written game. It's fantastic. I love Metal Gear Solid, by the way, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favourite game of all time. But they are terribly written. But they're very interesting if you get past all that. Yeah, it's some interesting stuff. So you could do that. And who knows? Maybe the baby will be healthy and will grow up perfectly fine. I don't know. I'm sure there are ways around the problems. Can I ask you something? You have already asked me a lot of things since you came here. I am sure one more won't hurt. Why did you employ Remy? Uh-oh. You see, politics is a rather unusual field here. As a pursuit that mostly requires intellectual ability, it's very open to members of any and every species who wishes to apply to such an office. However, the council members themselves are responsible for the workers they employ to help their office duties, and that is an area where certain standards and prejudice already start to seep in. The council members either employ members of their own species, or they pick members of a species that are stereotypically used in that area. Probably because it's efficient, they can do their job. It's like proven. Yeah, you could argue, oh, well, it's very close-minded and not open. You think, yeah, it's because they can get the job done. And as you said yourself, the job is actually very hard to do and needs to be done. So you need someone with a sort of experience or skill set to do that. If you can find someone of a different sort of background or gender or dragon species or whatever that can do the job, by all means, that's great. But it takes a lot of time and effort to find said dragon. You know, it's just kind of like... It's another risk, basically. Either play it safe or play a risk. And since you like to play risks, I understand. That's probably why you took Remy. Shortly after I came to office, I was faced with the question of who to employ to take care of the archives. I didn't really know of a suitable candidate that I wished to employ off the top of my head, so I had to make do with the applicants I received. They were numerous. Among them was a number of hopefuls from my own hometown who now banked on the idea I would employ someone I already knew or of my own species. I could have hired one of them, but I had to realise that this decision, made first in the office, would already be under scrutiny. So I'll do the obvious risky one that everyone's going to go, what? That's a good start. Certainly wouldn't have been very unusual to hire an Earth Dragon to take care of the archives, but I'm sure it would have been looked at from a certain angle with a certain bias. Yeah, but fuck them. That's just how it is. It gives a shit. So that's the thing. Yes, they have opinions, but they're also only opinions. So like what Theresa May's doing with our UK government. You tell them to fuck off. I mean, I disagree with her. I hate her at the moment, and I hate her government at the moment, but that's just what you do. Because you have a job to do, and I understand that you have a job to do, and I understand it's very difficult. But you shouldn't say, you know, and there are some opinions that you have to go fuck off to, and I get that. It's just, you know, sometimes that can be costly, but I see what you mean. You know, I'm just contradicting myself now. I'm going to shut up now. I know nothing. You know more than I do. I shall carry on. They would have claimed that I only employed another Earth Dragon because they belonged to the same species or came from the same town as me. They wouldn't even consider that I made a decision based on merit. Yeah, but again, fuck them. Doesn't matter. That you can say fuck them. With the same biased thinking being present in the applicants, it would have been hard to find anyone among them who was actually suited to the position of working in the archives. Typically, the position is held by species with proper hands. It is often necessary to handle smaller precious objects in the archives, but since I typically don't do things the typical way, I wanted to do something different. See, that's your own personality coming through anyway. After I sorted out applicants that only seemed to want to be there to advance their career or have to have something important to put to their resume, the remaining number was actually fairly small. Remy was one that stood out to me from the rest. I wondered about his rationale to even apply for the position, given that it was unheard of for a member of his species to be caretaker of the archives. Either he was incredibly naive, or he knew that his chances were practically nil, but was willing to try regardless. I was curious to find out when I invited him for a job interview. He seemed generally enthusiastic and had a passion for the subject, qualities I was looking for. He also had a background that actually made him well qualified for the position, at least on paper. Ultimately, he reminded me of my parents and how they managed to break out of their mould and make it big by doing their own thing. I saw an opportunity that aligned with my own goals. Of course, there were also practical considerations, but I thought with time and practice and his tireless nature and difficulties would be overcome. Maybe he could rise above his peers just like my parents did. I only gave him the same chance. I knew I was making a gamble, but I thought with someone like him, it could very well pay off. Going against every recommendation, guidance and advice I received, I ultimately decided to hire him, a decision that immediately made big headlines. It was the beginning of the trend that would give me the image I have now. There was a lot of coverage about it, and I think that gave Remy a lot more attention than he wanted. This might have been a good thing if he did his job well, but this didn't turn out to be the case. Well, that's what gambling's all about. First time he messed up, I made a joke about it, told him that this happens to everyone a few times. If only it had stayed just a few times. Soon enough, my decision made more headlines from my cynical critics who lambasted me, citing his shortcomings as evidence. Of course, I couldn't go easy on him during that time. He wanted the job, so I held him to the standards of the job. If I treated him any differently, it would have only gotten worse. He might have had to work twice as hard, but if he can't do the job, maybe he isn't cut out to do it. But if he can, he'll have proven his worth to the whole town. Well, I heard that it isn't working so well for him. Tell me about it. It's one of my few decisions that I haven't ended up working up in my favour, even though many people were all for it until when it was initially announced. Well, why don't you just replace him? That wouldn't be such a good idea. For one, it would only prove that people write that the doubt I made people write who doubt that I made the right choice, and secondly, it would only draw attention to the whole issue all over again. That is unfortunate. Luckily, I made enough headlines these days for it not to matter much anymore. Oh, I'm going to be late for my meeting if I don't hurry up. Would you mind helping me with this? Horn shine? What is that? Just some colour for my horns. Ah, you're painting them. What for? It's a public outing. You telling me you don't do things to make yourself look different? Not really, no. I should do, but I don't bother. So it's just... I just don't feel like I'm worth it. We do, I just didn't expect your horns to be one of those things. I see. Well, the brush is over there, so we get go. Oh, bloody hell. Fine, I'll do it. I walked over to her table where I saw the brush among a number of other tools I couldn't quite place and a few stacks of papers. She really hadn't been exaggerating when she mentioned her workload. Anything I need to know before I start? Question. Not really. You know how brush works, don't you? Sure do. Just so you know, I'll blame you in front of the whole council if you mess this up. Whatevers. So I removed the cork from the glass bottle that was filled with a red, somewhat viscous liquid. After dipping the brush into it, I started painting a horn in the bright red. It took a few applications of the horn to be covered completely. Is that good? Oh, we're not done yet. Don't forget my elbow, and those on my neck. Oh, okay. That should do it. Let me take a look. She walked up to a mirror and turned her head a few times so she could see herself from every angle. Fair enough. Hey, individualism, yo, go for it. Not too shabby near Ramble. Maybe you could make a good assistant. For you, anytime. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, how does it look? What do you think about the colour? Goes well with your makeup and jewellery. No, I think it contrasts nicely with your natural colour. That's good to know. You know what? All that sitting around has made my back so horribly stiff. Would you mind giving me a massage? Oh, God, we've seen this before with others, haven't we? Like with Bryce and Remy and all that. It's this bloody laziness. What was the question? You know what? Let's say, would you mind giving me a massage? Not at all. You're a real lifesaver, Near Ramble. I know it's a strange request, but having to sit in this office for hours on end working through all these papers takes its toll on my body. You know, my kind tends to be very physical, and I haven't quite gotten used to this office lifestyle yet. She lay down on a mat pillow, and she quickly produced from somewhere and presented her back to me. I briefly wondered if she kept these items in the office for occasions just like this one. Oh, I see. It's one of these horny moments, is it? No pun intended there. I don't do puns unless it's by accident. What should I do? You can start at the neck and work your way down. Oh, God. Alright, then. Well, I don't know much about massaging an earth dragon. What kind of movements are we talking about here? Nah, just put your palms on it, stop rubbing its sackles. Don't hold back. I assure you we earth dragons can take anything you dish out. I'm a bit of a weakling, so I'm sure what I'll dish out is probably a bit puny. I put my hands on a rather girthy neck, and as she did as she told me, rubbed my palms in a circular motion. I was about to ask her if I was doing it right when I heard the voice. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Just be careful about the spine, so I think we both don't want this to end with an impaled hand. After she mentioned them, I couldn't help but watch her spines a bit more closely when I continued my ministrations. They seemed to be made from the same material as the horn on the muzzle. Even though they were not as girthy, they started out with a rather wide base, ultimately culminating in a point that didn't seem sharp enough to cause any damage by accident. When I resumed my treatment, she suddenly bucked, her spines only missing me by inches when she suddenly threw her head up. I guess she wasn't kidding about watching for the spines. Fearing a bit for my safety, I moved down to her shoulders. Your hands are wonderful, Near Ramble. Is that so? Question? The movements, the incurably soft skin of your hands. I'll take that as a compliment then. It most certainly is. I moved further down it. Oh God! I moved further down her back, noticing the increased roughness and armour that covered her there. Don't hold back now, Near Ramble. Put your strength into it, or I won't even feel a thing. Following her guidance, I increased the pressure of my palms more and more. Harder! I gave it everything I could. As I kept going at her, I noticed the muscles beneath armour softening noticeably. Hooray! We're effective massager. You know how to please, don't you? Apparently I do. Indeed. By this point, I'd already moved down to her hips, giving them the same treatment as with the rest of her body. Yes, that's the spot. You don't know what having to sit in an office all day does to my hips, Near Ramble. Unrelentingly, I continued. Wow, I seem to be enjoying this. Vowing not to stop until every last knot in her muscles was gone. God damn it, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. Don't stop now, Near Ramble. Give it all you got! I went faster, tenderizing it like a rump steak. Oh God. Oh God, just like that. Yes! Yes! And with that, my treatment was done. Her hips now soft and as supple as a jello-filling beanbag, and lots of body fluids were leaking out from her crotch area, but we won't go into that. Oh God, we need a cigarette after that. That was amazing. Oh, thank you. It's nice to have multiple talents. If you were open to a massage parlour here, you would have no shortage of customers. Is that so? I guess I'll do that in the Enlightenment ending then. I'm starting to understand what Enlightenment's going to be meaning after all this. Your hands are truly magical, Near Ramble. They're a gift, don't waste it. I'll keep that in mind. I should probably head off to my meeting, and I'm sure you also have places to be, Near Ramble. Maybe I'll see you again? I'm sure of it. You just met with the mayor. Well, an interesting lady. She seems alright. She seems pretty straightforward, pretty straight up. I liked her. She's cool. Right. I'm going to carry on now off screen. We'll save that, because I think that went quite successfully. Not in the way that I intended there. And I'll get to the ending then. I'll get to the bit that we need to click on, and then we'll do the ending. I'm not going to sit you through all this because it's just going to be a repeat of everything. Because the mayor was the only one I think we didn't do properly. So I think we've done her now, and I think we've got her good thing. So that's fine. It's only an optional, but since it came up, I thought, oh, we'll do it. So I shall be back in a mo with the bit we need to do to finish the game. So yeah, back in a mo. Phew. Right, here we are. The fireworks. Go alone or everyone? Everyone! I thought about who I should bring to the show this time. Thinking about it set off a vivid image in my mind of the fireworks I'd seen before, exploding in patterns, illuminating the night sky. Suddenly, memories of my many attempts burst forth like the fireworks themselves. All the different things that had happened, the people I'd met, and also many confrontations with Rezo. I remember everything. Dun dun. Oh shit. I'm not sure what to say to this. Well, the science behind the time travelling is actually sound and doesn't contradict anything we know about the portal. I can't say the same about the theory with the wormholes and barriers, though. It doesn't confirm what my roommate's been learning and my own experience. I can't believe all this has happened to you, Near Ramble. The proof speaks for itself, really. I'm not sure about this. It all just sounds so ridiculous. Have you been having affairs with all these people? No, I haven't, Bryce. Just with a couple of them. I know, Bryce. Time travelling is only something that happens in bad science fiction novels, right? And I thought this was going to be some sort of intervention. I've already given you proof regarding the time travel. You don't just have to believe me about the rest, though, or you have evaded peril because of this phenomenon. Think of times when you suddenly changed your mind because of what you thought might happen. If you had memories of things that had never happened or dreams that later turned out to be true, you've experienced it as well. Some of those nightmares, yeah, those have happened too. Are you saying that if I had flown during the competition I would have died? I remember things in the timelines where I died. The same must be true for all of you, it's not just your imagination. This is nice and all, but why did you call us here? I mean, what's the point of telling us all this? I know where Rez is going to be in a few hours. 5 of you are the people I've gotten to know best in the time I've spent here. And maybe you even remember some of the things we've done together in other timelines. Now I need your help to stop him. Well, why don't you just call the police about this? You wouldn't even need to tell them about all the time travelling and such. The case was already getting too big for us. We still haven't gotten to the reinforcements we requested from the city. With the fireworks going on tonight, we really wouldn't have had anyone else to spare. I mean, those fireworks just need guarding, man. You know? They're vicious bastards. You want us to stop him? But that sounds dangerous. It is. All of you get injured in some way. Well, I think so. He's killed at least 4 people so far, right? And let's not forget that he still has his weapon. What's that? What's in it for me? I have a part in stopping a murder. Would probably get you a civil honour. Wouldn't exactly look great on us to give someone a medal and throw it into prison the next day, just saying. Knowing Amira, she'd probably make a big parade out of it and have her pardoned. Sounds like a deal to me. Of course, you'd only help for your own good. Well, at least I consider my options instead of following someone blindly. Near Rambler tells you to fly, and you only ask how high. Oh, catfight. Near Rambler has called us here to stop Reza. If we want to make this happen, we should probably start making a plan. Agreed. Same here. So, where is he going to be? In the underground building near the portal. You'll try to steal its generator. I see. Previously, I only realised where he was once he was already inside, but this time we can think about the best way to stop him. If we're just going to storm the place, I should probably go first. For one, I'm a professional, and what's more, I'm also an Earth Dragon. That's what makes me a good cop. Virtually unkillable by any would-be criminals. Yeah, until you get exploded, mate. I wouldn't be so sure of that. What's that supposed to mean? Well, all of us together should have no trouble taking him down. I don't want to kill him if we don't have to. Yes, Chief, I agree. Even if we outnumber him, let's not forget about his weapon. Our first goal should be to disarm him somehow. How can we do that? Well, I've got a shocker at home. Hit him with that and I doubt he'll be able to hold anything for a while. Or I doubt he'll be able to hold anything for a while. This is the perfect time for me to get cramp, by the way. I've just got cramp in my right leg and it's fucking killing me. So forgive me if I start going. Anyway, and we can cuff him after. Well, we can cuff him after that. I'll show you how to do it. Actually, I'll let each of you have a pair, just in case, because it's really good fun. You don't have to bring one for me. I don't think I'll be able to use them. Don't worry about it, they're designed with flyers in mind. It's really easy to cuff someone if you know how, and again, it's really good fun. Well, if you say so, I like fun. Okay, we've got a shocker and some handcuffs, but that isn't much of a plan. What are we going to do? Wait for him to arrive and then all try to cuff him at once? Yeah, it'd be great fun. Maybe you should go alone. Yeah, I'm sure Near Rambler called us here only to confront Reza alone in the end. What are you talking about? Well, if you want to get him with the shocker, your best chance is to surprise him after you gained his trust. You may think of it safer if we're all there because we outnumber him, but in reality, this will likely provoke an aggressive reaction the instant he sees us all. I agree, you may not be able to talk him down, but in the end we only need to get close enough to him to hit him with the shocker. I think he's frightened, he's feeling like an alien in this world. Maybe that's how he could become a killer, by seeing us as something foreign or lesser. No, it's the fact that you're dragons, and he doesn't give a shit because he wants to save humans. It doesn't matter, he wants to kill you. He doesn't actually want to kill you, he just wants to take what he's been promised and that's it. You're only going to kill him if you get in his way. But I've tried doing that before, with one of you staying in hiding until things were about to go wrong. That usually didn't work out as well as it should have. Because your approach with him was wrong. You tried to talk him down or distract him while help arrived. Well, what should I do then? Go there before Reza arrives and act like you were going to steal the generator yourself. Carry it together and as soon as you're outside, surprise him with the shocker and cuff him. Meanwhile, all of us will be hiding in the area and watch to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Well, that sounds pretty good. How'd you come up with it? I read something similar in a book once. I see. Might have to investigate your civil portfolio. Wasn't that in one of the Sheridan books? Maybe. No comment. Any other opinions about this plan? I couldn't think of anything better if I tried. Do you think you could really pull it off near Ramble? Well, I'll have to, but then again, I'll eventually succeed, because I'll just die and then go back to the portal again and just do it all over again until I do succeed, so I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, time traveling and all. Well, we better get ready then. I'll have to fetch the cuffs from the department, and Anna should get her shocker. I'll also have to make a phone call before I go. A phone call? Yeah, to tell Sebastian not to come in for his shift today. He wasn't well, he was, but he was going to go watch the fireworks. You stopped him watching the fireworks, Bryce. I didn't say for you to do that. Ugh, got my cramp. Anyway, it's because I'm unhealthy and shit. While we waited for Bryce and Anna to return, Lorem, Adine and Remy stayed in my apartment and made lunch for everyone. Well, that's nice of them. After we were all reunited, Bryce showed us how to use the disposable plastic handcuffs he brought. As they were designed to even constrain an earth dragon like Bryce, they were nigh impossible to tear. Well, that's good to know. And then you just pull here until they're tight enough so you won't be able to pull his wrists out. Got it. This is fun. Does anyone need help? How about you two? Nah, I got it. You were right, it's pretty easy if you know how. Alright, we've got some more time before we're leaving, so... Anyone for a six-some? Anyone? Anyone at all? I'm quite happy. Six-some? Yeah? No? Five-some? One could be the camera person? No? Okay, just throwing it out there. Well, I guess we could just sit around and wait. The calm before the storm. By the way, how's the investigation about me coming along, Bryce? That's not something we should talk about right now. Besides, I've been busy with the whole Reza thing, so, yeah, I kinda haven't done anything on it. Of course you can't tell me anything. I suppose I won't even know when your people will suddenly decide to take me in. It's not my fault you violated the conditions of your suspended sentence. I'm just following protocol. I better get pardoned for doing this, or else. Oh, else what? I might as well go through the portal myself if I just end up getting arrested here. Just saying. If you don't want to stay here, maybe you should go right now. Hey, I'm all for helping near Rambler. I just want to make sure I'm covered as well. If what I've heard about her is true, then maybe she shouldn't get pardoned. Don't believe everything you read in those tabloids. I can confirm they don't know anything. You don't know the whole story either. Does that mean you lied under oath? Maybe I should reconsider this pardon thing. See, that's what I mean. She only cares about herself. My research has saved thousands of lives, if not millions. What do you ever do for the community? I volunteer at the orphanage, and what's more, I do that just to help them, not for my own gain. Why does she have to be the only one who gets something out of this? Well, all of us will probably get a medal. It'll be a chocolate medal, you know, nom nom. This isn't really the kind of discussion we should be having right now. Anna, if you lied under oath, then that's something I just can't forget. What are you going to do about it? I'll make you a deal. Tell all of us right now what really happened back then, and you'll have my support when it comes to being pardoned for helping near Rambler stop Reza. How's that sound? We don't even need her help. She can just leave as far as I'm concerned. Look, Adine, you wouldn't let me have sex with you, okay? I do not want you bitching about Anna right now, okay? She's my bae. Back off, bitch. If I'm going, I'll take my chakra with me. Don't do that! That's part of the plan! I want to know what happened. You'd rather know and let her walk? She's already being investigated. Let the wheels of justice do their work. See, near Rambler, I just can't catch a break with these people, even when I'm here to help you. She may walk anyway. This infraction was so tiny that she may put a spin on it that makes her look like the victim, just like last time. If she tells us what really happened, then that's something we'll always know about her, and how we can be sure she won't do anything like it again. So now you're planning to resort to blackmail? You know what? Do whatever the heck you want. I don't care. Just make up your damn minds. I want to know. Me too. Rem? Adine? I don't like this. Ellipses. Alright, let's hear it. The majority has spoken. I spoke too? I know, fuck. It all started when I decided to look for new angles to tackle cancer. Since I occasionally work with the police, I got a phone call that they received the victim of some sort of accident. As the victim had no family or relatives, there was no one who could object to her body being used for research purposes. Usually this wouldn't be anything special, but she just wasn't your usual victim. She was pregnant. For me, this opened up a lot of possibilities. Usually the council wouldn't allow fertilised eggs to be used for research, but here we're talking about a few fertilised egg cells that haven't even formed an eggshell yet. They would have perished quickly if I hadn't noticed that she was technically pregnant. I submitted my forms for the research and started my work. Since the material was very sensitive, there wasn't really time to wait for approval, as it would have put the whole experiment at risk. Either way, I was sure the paperwork would go through, and I had other things to worry about than what some busybodies would think about my work. My approach was to tinker with the fertilised egg cell's DNA in order to create a living organism whose immune system would be strong enough to combat cancer all on its own. Once it hatched, I could make a few transplants and a new way to fight cancer would be born. In order to ensure compatibility with myself, I spliced in some of my own DNA, enough that it would be considered a member of my own species rather than the parents. The result of my experiment was incubated in an artificial eggshell, and then it was just a matter of time before it grew up and we could see if the procedure was a success. And then we created... Oh, damn it, what was that thing from Resident Evil called? Oh fuck, I was about to make a Resident Evil joke, I forgot what the thing was called. Tyrant! That's the one. Ah, bloody ruined it now. For some reason or another, however, my proposal became a public matter. Proposals like mine that needed the council's approval should be seen by anyone, or could be seen by anyone, and were open to discourse, but people usually don't care about them unless they had some experience in the field. Not so in my case. Once the media got a hold of it, rumours rang amok about what I was going to do. People fixated on small details and exaggerated the procedures outlined in the experiment. Yeah, but you are technically tampering, potentially, depending on which perspective you come from, the life of an individual without their consent. Although, you know, it depends on where you are with the argument on that. I would have to say that if you're going to say the moment of... what's the word called again? Not consummate. Bollocks. What's it called when you get pregnant? Oh god, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know what the word I mean. It's the moments that the sperm and the egg cell get together and do the thing they're doing. Some people say that's when life starts. Others say, oh no, it's when they've developed further and become a fetus, or a part of the fetus, you know, the stage before the fetus, you know, where they've suddenly got a brain and all that. I'm just saying, you know, for me, life is... the beginning of life is where it can suddenly think for itself and talk. It can communicate with others and think for itself and question. If at the moment the sperm and the egg cell do that, then I need to know that they actually can communicate. And maybe they can, that's the thing. And they are able to think for themselves. But until someone discovers that they can, I'm of the opinion that it's like saying building something out of Lego, like building a robot or an android out of Lego. Life hasn't really been created yet until you've reached a point in your creation whereby it's starting to talk and think for itself. That's where I would say life is born. You need all the building blocks to get there, but if you destroy the building blocks or tamper with the building blocks before you get to that point, then technically they weren't alive in the first place. But again, it's I don't anybody, you know, it's a sensitive matter, and I personally just think, you know, I just go with that opinion, but I don't go around saying, oh, life doesn't begin there. No, because at the end of the day, it could very well do. I'm just of that opinion until I see further evidence. That's all. But it could very well be that it is. So, you know, not ruling it out, shall we say. So I can understand people getting upset about these sorts of things. Self-appointed do-gooders who thrive on outrage make a smear campaign against me, and due to all the ensuing controversy, my proposal was ultimately rejected. It was already a shame that an experiment like mine, one that could help countless patients, both current and future, could be shut down like this, but there was more. Some people were watching me and they knew I was doing something in my lab. A group of council-approved scientists were going to come to my lab to discuss alternative strategies for what I was trying to do, but I knew it was partly a setup in order to check that everything that was going on in my lab was legitimate. Hide it under the floorboards then! Fucking hell, that's not difficult! By this point, the egg was already substantially developed. Knowing of the visit and that my experiment was now illegal, I had to get rid of it somehow. I would have smashed it if I could, but the fetus inside was already too big to make it vanish easily. Again, hide it under the floorboards. In the end, I decided to leave it on someone's doorstep, disguised as an egg left by unwanting pet. Wait, is this the... Is this the baby dragon that comes... The one that Remy and Nadine adopt at the end of their storylines? Not the one that gets killed, Vara, but the other one. Is this the parent? Is this parent thing that I think Colour Blues was talking about, or Kathura Lockhart was talking about? One of you was talking about this. I never would have guessed, to be fair. I really wouldn't. I couldn't do it. That must be it then. It's hinted at a bit, but I think it is that. Well, that whole affair got the police department in a lot of trouble too, because it was us who gave you the material. Don't you have a single shred of decency within you? Now, let's not have any arguments here before I slap you all with my penis. I could have done much worse than leaving it on someone's doorstep. Besides, don't expect any goodwill from me if you never showed up. If you never showed any either. Hey, we're on your side during the whole thing, remember? Yes, but only because I saved your ass more times than I can count. No one, not a single person has ever been nice to me just for the heck of it, except for Near Ramble. He put his penis in me, and it was very fun. Leaving an egg on someone's doorstep is such a horrible thing to do. Well, again, it's a bit selfish, but again, the option is to kill it, and I think you'd hate her for that as well. So she is kind of in between a rock and a hard place on this one. At least she's giving it to someone who may want to actually look after it and all that shit. So, yeah, piss on you. Like you would have done anything different to my position. I would have owned up to my mistake because I know how these children end up. How they have to grow up if they don't get adopted within a few years, doomed to be nobody's children. They might have got adopted, you don't know. It's about taking risks. You've got to take risks. You spliced your own DNA in, so you're basically its mother, yet you didn't hesitate to throw your child away when it became an inconvenience for you. Well, the fact of the matter is it was illegal, and even if she said, it's my baby, I love her, then it would have been taken away from her anyway, from social services and shit like that, so again... Actually, it's more of a clone than a child. Did it ever have a name, or was it just a product for your failed experiment? Yes, it was called Diamond. Well, she did have a name. I even scribbled it on an eggshell before I left it. Wait a minute. It would have been around the same time. No, it can't be. What was the name? Why do you even care? They probably found her. She went to a nice family and lived happily ever after. End of story. What was her name? Well, if you really want to know, it was... Yes, called it. But, to be fair, I would never have guessed it before that. I know her. She's been living in the orphanage all her life when you went on with yours without a care in the world. Why even that name? After the mother, I guess. Now that you mention it, I think the victim's name was a bit different. Amelia, that was it. Froze to death during a winter... Oh, piss off! Are we doing this whole, like, all the stories that interlink bullshit? Like, I know these guys' stories, there's some interlinks there because they're currently living and have experiences, but are you now saying that the girlfriend of Remy is now the clone? God damn it, that's just like the mother of all coincidences. That's just BS, that is. I know it's good story material and good drama, but come on! What? Remy, I never told you this, but shortly before she died, Amelia found out that she was pregnant. Oh god, it's all covered out now. This means you... Where is she? Well, don't worry, Remy, she's been taken care of in the orphanage. We can go there once this is over. No, I want to go there right now! I'm not sure if that's a good idea, you know. There's a crazy guy out there with a gun. He might shoot you. Yeah, if you go to meet her, it'll take some preparation, and you shouldn't see her when you're like this. Besides, we should be focusing on Reza right now. You know, he has a gun. Agreed. You're right, this is more important. No, it's not more important, it's just priority at the moment. I think it's time to go anyway. Alright, let's do this. Now that we're all hating each other. Yeah, that was a bit of BS right there. That was. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice and I know it's good story material, but that was a bit like, oh god, how do we make this more shocking? Plot twist, it was yeah. But I suppose in a way you think, well, yeah, what happened to her body when she was frozen? She would have been taken to the morgue, and that's what, you know, Anna does with all that sort of shit for the cops. So yeah, I suppose in a way the world is small enough that it's feasible. But I don't know. From a plot perspective, it's like, God's sake. But I'm very picky. I'm very critical. I'm very cynical. So just ignore me on this one. If you like it and you think it's great, that's cool. It's just, yeah, it's just a bit sort of like, really, what a small world. But to be fair, we do live in a small world, so yeah. Swings and roundabouts. So when we arrived at our destination, everyone chose their hiding places. It wasn't easy, especially since we didn't know where Reza would come from, but with a bit of scouting help from Adine, they found suitable places eventually. Also, we had to split them all up because they were all wearing for a fight with each other. Because this has all gone very well. I went inside trying to remember the room the generator was in. But you don't know? Luckily, I had plenty of time, and when I found it, I packed it up in a cardboard box that was lying around, just as Reza had done so many times before. Then I waited, knowing of the various conversations we had in other timelines when we met here. I could think about what I was going to say and what his likely response would be. I also found it interesting that this time I could be the one who was here first. No, yeah, I suppose because you've just remembered it all, haven't you? So that makes sense. After a while, I heard footsteps outside. As if on cue, I took the box with the generator and opened the door. Reza, you're here! Oh, you don't know how glad I am to see you. I've wanted to talk with you for so long. Where have you been all this time? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. But talking can wait. I'm out of breath because I've got cramp and I'm drinking Pepsi and it's giving me gas. Now that you're here, we've got everything. Come on, help me with this. Let's get out of here. Reza walked up to me and grabbed the other end of the box. Slowly we made our way through the building. I can't wait to get out of this place. It gives me the creeps. How so? Well, I passed this thing called Tyrants. It was really horrible looking. And then I passed a few more doors and there was like these weird people banging on them, looking very hungry. I just, you know, I don't really like it. Ever since I arrived here, a lot of weird things have happened. I don't like it. What are you talking about? Something strange is going on in this world. When I close my eyes, I see things. Things that have never happened and things that later turn out to be true. Do you know what I'm talking about? No! So you do. How is that possible? I don't know, Reza. I had my own reasons for coming here today. I knew now would be the best time to set the generator and leave through the portal. What about you? They're not looking for you too, are they? No. They believe I'm on their side. Then what are you doing here? I had a feeling you'd be here. I figured it out just like you did. I can't wait for them to build us new generators. Considering they took our PDAs and generators back from you, it's more than fair that we take this as payment and be done with it. Wait a minute. What is it? Something's not right here. Ah, fuck. Suddenly he let go of the box, making me put it down. He took a few steps back before he grabbed his gun and pointed at me. But what's wrong with you? How could you even know the time I was going to be here? I looked at a watch. Because of the fireworks. We both know they're going to give us the perfect cover to do this now. No, that's not it. We've both been here before. I remember us carrying out the box together, and that time you killed me with my own gun. What are you talking about? It's all coming back to me now. There's not been a single time where you actually wanted to help me. That girl with the mask, where is she? Okay, that was funny. Reza turned round, just in time to the administrator tackle him to the ground. I ran towards them, but in the scuffle a few gunshots unloaded. The telltale hiss of the generator sounded through the hallway. I turned around and ran towards the exit while both Reza and the administrator scrambled to their feet and followed me. Oh. I swept off my feet as the generator exploded. Recovering from the fall, I looked up only to see Reza running towards the portal. BAM! Nice hit. A Dean swooped in from behind and collided with Reza. He stumbled and fell to the ground while the Dean regained a balance and ascended, attempting a circle to face him again. Oh shit. Oh, nice one, Maverick. Reza stood up and raised his gun at her, but Maverick suddenly pounced out of nowhere and pinned him to the ground. Bryce was running towards him when Maverick looked at Reza, growling. Don't kill him, Maverick! And why? Oh, sorry. And why not? After what he's done to you, you're not letting him off the hook that easily, are you? Let me cuff him. Go ahead. I actually got him this time. When I arrived, Reza was already secured and ready to go. He spotted me, his face contorting with anger. No, how could you do this to me for everyone? We have no idea what I had to do to get here. To get this close to bringing the generator home and to our people. If you had only helped me instead of them, we could have done it too! Where were you when that bastard of a dragon bit me? When I couldn't do anything but lie in pain the whole day with a festering wound? Or when I waited for you at the portal a week ago, ready to leave with parts I stole to repair it, when I shot my gun a few times hoping you'd hear it so we could escape together? But you could have been a bit clearer. You know, if I heard gunshots in the distance, I wouldn't necessarily run towards it. I mean, I did do it the one time, because I was a bit stupid. But I wouldn't do it again in real life, because I'd be like, ooh, gunshots, that means death. Walking away from death, you know, just to stay away from it. Not a very good tool for communication. I risked everything when I waited for you. Maverick nearly got me that time too. I could have left without you if I wanted. I had everything I needed, but I didn't want to just leave you behind. Yep, that's literally what it was. I could have left you if I wanted. I had everything I needed, but I didn't want to just leave you behind. Should I shut him up? No, let him talk. You said we'd do anything, that together we could save humanity. All this teleportation messing with our heads. Don't you remember our plan? I never forgot about our plan, Reza. I just wanted the dragons to be part of it too. What are you going to do now, huh? You'll see. Humanity's going to be fine, and so are you. Take him away, Bryce. I just want to know one thing. Who really sabotaged the portal? That was me. I knew it was Reza who was stealing the generator, so the least I could do was prevent him from sending them to humanity and escaping through the portal. As long as it didn't run, he could never completely get away from us. Ellipses. Say it. You are right about nearly everything, Maverick. Just not about near Rambler. Still, it took an extraordinary amount of bravery and courage to do what you did. Who knows how this all would have turned out if it wasn't for you. It feels so strange to me now, but it's just like I had to follow Reza. Not even I knew where to go and where I would find him. I followed my intuition, but the longer I kept pursuing him, the more I thought I was going crazy, and that it might mean I end if I decided to go down this path. Maybe it just wasn't your intuition. Come on, do you want to help me show this Reza his new cell? It would be my pleasure. Just as they went off with Reza, I saw Remy and Lorem approaching. Oh. Azumi was leaning against Remy when they walked up to us together, her overalls bearing a large red stain at the centre. How are you still alive? She needs help fast. I tried to give her some first aid, but I don't think it did much. Based on these wounds, I'm not sure if anything can help her now. She's right. I won't be around much longer, and there are still things I need to tell and show you, Nia Rumble. Maybe I could carry you? No, we have to go alone. Alright, can you wait for me here? Sure. Please just don't start arguing again, or I will slap you with my very big penis. There'll be no point now that we've stopped Reza. It's all good. She actually managed to convince Maverick not to kill him. Ex-boyfriend, and he still listens to me. Isn't that funny? Could tell you about Amelie while we wait. That would be lovely. Oh, there we go then. Wonderful. Okay, so that's all good then. Right. Now what wonderful pleasures have we got this time? And if it's a bamboo emergency, I'm going to be cross. Azumi led the way as we walked through the unfamiliar territory. It's just woods and pathway. We've done this before. Maybe I should start by telling you that I haven't been exactly truthful with you. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's fine. Still, now that we are here, I think I should tell you everything while I'm dying from my wounds, because, you know, plot. When I was accidentally sent back in time, I wasn't alone. What are you talking about? Did you really think a single person could have accomplished everything I told you about and single-handedly figured out time travel along the way? We were an elite team sent to break new ground. There were 4 of us. Oh god. Heinz Foreman, geneticist and project lead. Sybil Thomas, Behaviour Specialist. Francois Bordelon, Military Advisor. I'm going to mispronounce these names, by the way, I apologise. And lastly me, Otomo Izumi, Engineer and Maintenance Crew. This is the kind of job that's so top secret that I wouldn't be surprised if we're all killed after we hand over the data. Good thing we're not expendable, huh? You think they're sending us into the middle of nowhere without seeing us as expendable? Look, people please, first of all you were briefed about this, so you should already know what your duties will be and how you will die. I'm sure all of you are well qualified to perform as expected, but let's just get to what this project's really all about. Killing you all. Does anyone have to make a guess? Since I am here, it can only mean something with military applications. Good guess, Miss Thomas. Does it have to do with PTSD, perchance? Not quite. How about you, Miss Otomo? I have no idea. Just get to the point, please. Let me sum this up in one sentence. Intelligent, trainable bioweapons as low-cost alternative to mechanized weaponry in developing countries. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, this conundrum we find ourselves in might actually work out in our favour. Since we're all outside of any jurisdiction now, that means we can do whatever we want during this little project of ours. Just how I like it. You intend to utilise human DNA in this project, don't you? Somebody has played Resident Evil and thought, I can do this but with dragons. That is essentially what's going on here. I said that before. This is Resident Evil but with dragons. And all the dragon people are dragon zombies. Hence why Maverick's brother went all crazy. Dragon zombies. I thought they would do that anyway, and pay off whichever country we would find ourselves in. Oh, sorry, wrong person there. Sorry, yeah, whatever. Anyway, we won't even have to do that anymore. It'll take me a while to repair all the damage and re-establish communications with the company until we're kind of stuck here. Who says we need to wait till then? Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. I just don't think they'd like it if we just went ahead with the project before they even knew what happened to us. You know what happened with the Anna Dragon, right? It all fucked up royally. Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's how you end up in jail. What else are we supposed to do while we're here? If worst comes to worst, we can just destroy the results and then ourselves. Heck, if this works out, we're the only ones who have a portal into the past like this. It could be only the first of many incredible opportunities. Think about all the animals we could use, raw materials, plants, even the atmosphere. I can already smell all the rare gases here we could harvest. Yeah, he's getting off on this, isn't he? I think that's just the ventilation system being wonky. I haven't had time to adjust it yet. You're only thinking about the company, but what about us? Already thinking about mutiny? I think that would be a bad idea. I thought our salary already contained an eternal loyalty and silence bonus. That's the thing with greed. People always crave more, regardless of how much they already have. Yeah, like your gases, mate. All this discussion is pointless. I'm the team lead and I decide we do this. As long as you take responsibility if there are any troubles. I know what the company wants, and I say this will make them more than just happy. If yes, you'll thank me for it. Trust me. I'm a doctor. If you say so. If we're going to make bioweapons, what animals should we have them based on if we didn't end up here? The great thing is that we don't have to choose. We already have technology that does all that work for us. We just need to provide the samples, and based on our criteria, we get a customized genome that fits our purpose as best as possible. And you want to give them human intelligence? Why wouldn't we give them as much intelligence as we can? Because that won't backfire. If they can think too advanced, too abstract, don't you think they might start to have independent thoughts? How are you going to control them? That's what Miss Thomas and Miss Borderland are here for. With the right training, it shouldn't be an issue. Besides, you know that mission resolves to obedience, right? Yeah, you could just, I don't know, breed them to be, you know, single-minded, simpleton things that are just designed to kill things without having to think and be independent. Or perhaps install some sort of mind-controlling device or self-termination thing, you know? Why leave it to chance? Why leave it to a behaviour therapist and a military man? This seems like a plan filled with human error. And from your background, Hines, that is not something you would do. Trust me. I suppose so. How do we know this is going to work with dinosaur DNA as well? Well, find out soon enough. Oh my god, this is the plot to the new Iron Sky film. Nazis and dragons. I knew it! This is where it came from. It's going to be a good movie, that. Should we? That is not a question we ask at this company. You should know that by now. Have you ever seen Jurassic Park? Oh god, here we go. If you want to see Jurassic Park, you only need to open that door. You'll soon find that all your concerns are unfounded, and I'll show you why. But first, let me talk about abilities. Now that we have a whole new world of potential samples, we should be able to find even better alternatives to what we have been planning. What abilities should those be? Flight, armor, fire, to name a few. All at once? Sounds like an awful lot of dragons. Dragons are scary, aren't they? They could even be a psychological component. To be fair, getting all those in the same species could be complicated. You think you can do something nature couldn't? That's why we're here. It's just gonna backfire miserably. You must have seen... You saw Jurassic Park. If you're referencing Jurassic Park, you know how this turns out. Why would you do this? What animal is the fire ability based on? The Bombardier Beetle. We're going to make the mechanism safer and easier to control, though. Alright, so we're going to combine animal strengths with high cognitive abilities. But how are you going to prevent others from stealing the genome? Backyard breeders could be a problem. Very good question. There are a number of safeguards we're going to introduce to prevent any unauthorized copying of our product, such as the Digital European Union Copyright Law. Article 11 to 13 shall put a stop to that, no problem. Firstly, there's the genome itself. Raising these creatures from infancy to a point where they become usable for their purpose will take some time. Since we're going to do this ourselves, we have a unique blend of hormones to make them reach the stage fairly quickly. Making them grow up naturally is something that will take so much time and resources as to become unviable by anyone who'd want to go that route. With us, they can be combat ready with months instead of years. Secondly, all creatures will be equipped with a brain implant. Not only will this give them a variety of advantages, but it's another safeguard against copying as well. That chip, they'll either become uncontrollable or die. Or you could just use it to mind control them. You know, simple signal thing, you know, it's just... I'm not a doctor here. I just have a physics background, and even I know this is not going to work. So even if the genome is stolen, it won't be worth anything without chip. So they'll just steal both of them then. It's like, we have to make the chip, and then make the genome. If they steal the one, and not the other, everything's wrong. Well, everything's fine. Well, they'll just steal both. I just... Wow, you are so thick. I know, I am terribly thick. Could someone just hack or reverse engineer the chip and manufacture it themselves? I doubt it. They tend to be sold in low technology areas. Even if they can reverse engineer the chip, they won't have the facilities to mass manufacture them. It's a chip. Yes, they will. Otherwise, they'll just be using combat robots like everyone else. You want to modify their behaviour with technology. Being dependent on a chip sounds dangerous. What if it fails? Don't worry about that. We'll put bombs on them. There is also the training. Training a living being, no matter if human or not, takes time and money. Not only do we have an automated training program, but we can also use the implant to accelerate this process. What about direct transference of knowledge into the creature's brains via the implant? That technology is still in its infancy. Oh. So, making dragons in any shape or form that you want using biological genome therapy is fine. But making a chip that can't control them, based on biogenetics by the way, is not possible. Oh boy. Fair enough. No, it's not. It'll give the user full control as well. The creatures will be able to learn from experience, but undesirable memories can be wiped easily. It sounds like you have it all figured out already. That company has been working on this project for a long time, and now it's up to us to make it reach its natural conclusion. Even though this is an unnatural product. And what would that be? Our product is the creature, the chip, and the training. All in one complete package. Take away just one of these three components, the product won't work as intended. Yeah, I know, but it also means it could be actually unreliable on your end as well. So, again, it sounds... just, yeah... We deliver them ready to be used in combat from the moment they arrive at the customer's doorstep. I still think we should wait before you rush into using animals that we hardly know anything about. Your opinion has been noted, Miss Optimo, but it won't carry much weight. You're a woman, and that is that. This is a really stupid thing, by the way. Sorry, gotta have a drink of Coke. Just the mic, and we carry on. Despite my objections, the experiments under Heinz Foreman went full steam ahead. Using genetic material of many prehistoric reptiles, a variety of species were designed. I suppose if you'd created Godzilla, that wouldn't be that. Well, it'd still be an issue, but at least that would be kind of cool. I mean, dragons and controllable dragons is cool enough, but really, I'd be just there thinking, oh my god, we can make Godzilla. Yes. Yeah, that has a lot of problems with it as well, but it's Godzilla for fuck's sake. Just badass creature of all time. Just putting it out there. Except his latest movies, they're shit. We started our tests with the one that enjoyed the most combat-related improvements, measuring their viability and the effects of safeguards. Soon the first proto-dragons were born. One was to be raised as naturally as possible, another was going to receive the hormones for accelerated growth, while the third one was to be trained by the automated learning program. The last one was to receive all of the safeguards at once. They were all identical clones. Caring for them was a task that ultimately fell on all of us, in addition to our usual duties. For now, the artificial domestication process on the genome made sure that they would be controllable and obedient even without the implant or training. We were already being recognised as packmates and parents by them. While I knew about the added intelligence, I soon had to realise just how far they had gone. It was when the first of them started talking. At that moment, I knew they would never be free, never be happy. They would only ever live a life of servitude and be used as weapons. Oh yeah, like artificial intelligence we're currently creating is going to do the same thing. I just, oh god, we are so thick. We are so thick. I know we're driven by instinct to like do this sort of thing, even in real life. I get it, it's instinctiveness, but you can't just ignore it. It would be hard, but you can just ignore it. I think that's a good idea. Sometimes I like to pursue things like this. Other times, and I've learned from experience, it's actually a good idea to just stop and walk away and pursue something else much more fun or much more safe, like movies or games, you know, just because. At that moment I knew they would never be free, blah 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 blah. They were given sapience, only to face a future of enslavement. I knew that the company would expertly maneuver around the legal system to make it possible. They already have. They're off the grid. As I've worked my way up the ranks within the company, I'd become increasingly disillusioned by the many despicable acts and projects I witnessed. But now I was at breaking point, ready to blow the whistle on everything I knew about them. While the experiments continued, they relied on me to repair the portal and return to our time, and I could only buy so much time while I figured out how to proceed. I knew that as soon as contact was re-established, I wouldn't be able to stop the project anymore. It was then that I realised I had to do something. Blow everyone up. Good plan. That's what I would do. You think they would... Hang on. I've got to pop these bloody YouTube pop-ups out of the way. It obscures the screen. Sorry about that. Right. You think they wouldn't need to send someone to take care of this anymore? It should be all automated by now. True. We have a robot that can perform any kind of surgery, so they don't need to send a doctor anymore. Why not have a robot that take care of other robots? Because I'd be the one to create that robot, and if I did, I'd be out of a job. By the way, I think the heater in my room is broken. Would you mind taking a look at it? I can think of a few ways to turn up the heat. A tempting offer that I unfortunately will have to decline, Mr. Borderline. You see, my ass is too small for your dick. I hate these early meetings. Anyone else want a cup of coffee? Miss Ottomo, perhaps? Well, at least he's offering coffee. It's one good redeeming feature of him. You know I don't drink coffee. 3 cups then, just as usual. So does she drink anything at all? I don't know about... I don't know why they even gave us 4. 4 what? Oh, 4 cups of coffee. Here you go. Why even coffee? It's not as if we couldn't just take a pill to get the same effect. Ah, but then you wouldn't get this lovely taste, Miss Thomas. Can we just get this over with? Of course, of course. Who wants to present their results first? No one? Well, I suppose it would have to be me again. Ha ha ha. You know, shouldn't we all glad that everything is recorded and transcribed automatically now? In my days, we actually had to write these reports ourselves. Oh, that's terrible. Hail to our machine overlords. Can we just get this over and done with? Of course, sorry, Mr. Borderline. Oh, she's drunk the coffee. Suddenly, Heinz started coughing. When his fit didn't stop after a few seconds, all of a sudden Francis went over to him. Heinz keeled over, his eyes opening widely in an unfocused stare. He stopped moving before a bit of foam started appearing in his mouth. He needs his injector! There should be one in the drawer over there. Quickly, I went to the drawer, grabbed something and ran up to Sybil. Here it is! It's got no poison or anything in it. That's not it, you should... Oh! Damn! Cold-hearted bitch. Before she could finish the sentence, drove the scalpel into her neck. She collapsed immediately as blood gushed out the wound, staining the floor red. She screamed and Francis turned around to see me holding the scalpel while the bleeding Sybil lay on the ground next to me. I attempted to stab him, but he grabbed my arm and wrestled the scalpel from me, which fell to the floor with an audible clang. Yeah, if you're going against a military expert, I think you should have come up with a more intelligent way of killing him. I'm sure you probably have one, though. He then wrapped his hands around my neck and started to choke me. I fell over backwards and he followed, his hands never leaving my neck in the process. He was kneeling above me and I found myself becoming weaker by the second. I made peace with the idea that I was going to die. I didn't know what would happen afterwards. To the dragons, to Earth, to everyone, but at least I could say I tried. Really? You thought through all of this plan to stop it all happening? And then you didn't plan for Francis to be killed in the way that you asked him to, unless the plan's coming up here now. It was from feeling something driven from my face while Francis was dragged away from me. My vision returned, and I looked up to see one of the dragons approach me before it started to lick my face with a bursting muzzle. So, right, okay, again, I must stress here, you had this plan to stop everything because you didn't like how it was going. Fair enough, we all get crises of conscience. You poisoned Heinz with his coffee. Fair enough. You stabbed Sybil in the neck with a scalpel. Fair enough, didn't see it coming. You didn't have a plan for the military man other than to try and stab him as well, despite the fact that he probably has more military training and combat training than you, and your plan only worked because you were saved by a dragon. Whatever's. Oh, is that the angelic one? I guess that must be the one that I'll tell you more about it later. I'm so sorry. I love you. I have to be honest. This has just come right out of left field, by the way. And again, I see what they're trying to do here, but there's coming out of left field, and then there's just doing it for the fuck of it. This doesn't really feel like a convincing payoff to me. I appreciate that, obviously, in the game story that the humans were hinted at creating the dragons. Fair enough, so I suppose that ties in with it. But bioweapons? Really? How about just actually doing it? How about just actually creating the dragons because you can, and then they're fighting over what they're going to do with them afterwards, and then kill them? That's more believable, because at least then I can buy into the fact that humans, if they had the ability to make dragons, they would. They wouldn't focus about what they're going to do afterwards. They'd just do it, and then they'd have their individual schemes afterwards. That would be a little bit more logical then, rather than just go, let's stick with the bioweapons angle and just roll with it. We've already got warfare technology now where you don't even need to be in the war zone anymore to fight. That's how scary Warzone technology's got. So why bother? I know I'm being very picky here, and I get that, but I'm sorry. This game's been really good in terms of its writing. It's been really good in terms of its logic. It's had some really deep thoughts. It's been, in my opinion, so far, very clever. So naturally, because of that, I have high expectations because it's been good. To let it down or drop the ball at this point is disappointing and should be called upon. Doesn't mean it's not interesting. Doesn't mean it's not written well in itself. It's just this is a bit of a low. This is a bit, in my opinion. But again, I'm being very picky. I'm just saying I don't like it. That's all. Anyway, whatever. Let's carry on. The other design species were made, and after making some adjustments to the learning program, taught them what I wanted them to know. I founded the first village, and they grew up quickly, knowing only me as their leader. Oh, you wanted to be a dictator of dragons. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. By the time I left, they didn't even need me anymore. They had become completely self-sufficient. That's fair enough. It's a very stupid story, by the way. So in the end, you gave them even more than life. You gave them freedom. She sat on the ground, panting heavily. There should be a shovel over there. Take it and dig. I'm not burying your fucking corpse! I wondered what would await me when the shovel hit something hard and I dug around it, unearthing a vaguely round shape. More shapes followed, and as I continued, I eventually realised I was looking at a body. I lifted it out of its shallow grave before turning it over. It was me. Ooh. Ooh. Why is this not upsetting time paradox? Why is this not creating a time paradox then? You have to understand there was no other way. Each time you travel back in time, I had to kill you. That makes more sense now. See, this is clever because you think, how is it I keep forgetting all the time? So when I travel back in time, obviously we end the stories relatively safe or alive, but then she'd ultimately find us and kill us, hence why our memory wasn't there all the time. That makes more sense. See, that is clever. Having multiple instances of you would have been troublesome. We only needed one of you. One to go through the same scenario and over again so we could learn what to do it differently. So this is your graveyard then, full of other instances of me. Not just you, there were also others and myself. Others? In some timelines they sent someone else instead of you. She was not a nice person. Why did they send someone else? They told me I was the best candidate. I was going to offer my own PDA for the trade. Because in those timelines you died before you ever had a chance to arrive here. Murdered for that very PDA you gave the dragons. See? Clever, I like it. This is clever. This is clever now. How many are there? How many did you bury? How many times have we done this now? I don't think it's worth knowing. I lost track a long time ago. I wish I could forget it all. You only did what you had to. Well, at least I'm being very sort of okay with being killed multiple times then. Do you remember anything about the first time you came here? Let me think. You mean when I confronted Reza alone with that explosive I made from a generator? Then you don't. You only remember the newer timelines. I think it's better this way. I've killed you so many times and sometimes you did the same to me. Or rather a different me. You don't know what it was like when I still had to try and figure everything out. You only remember timelines I'd sufficiently tampered with. So what are you trying to tell me then? The first few times I was just watching you. I could see your intentions were pure and that you were filled with determination, but without my help you always failed. Well, I know I'm an incompetent man, but come on. Everything that happened, from all the murders to the conclusion in the lab, it was all necessary to arrive here. I also needed to show you what kind of person Reza was. He wouldn't have believed me otherwise. Could I have stopped him early and saved those he killed? I don't know. That's a yes then. If I died before I could reveal myself to you, circumstances could have been unfixable. How many times do you think we tried before we even had the remote possibility to succeed? I know what you did. I've done it too, remember? If you didn't step up to the position back then, we probably still would have to figure out a few things. Sometimes I didn't quite know myself why I had to do things you told me to. If we didn't lure Maverick to the portal during my first day, the confrontation that set off this whole chain of events wouldn't have even happened. Your meeting with Reza had to be interrupted, otherwise he would have told you about his plan that night. From the ensuing talk there would have been only two options. Either you would have joined him to save humanity while leaving this world to die, or you would have opposed him, in which case he did not hesitate to shoot you there and there. We had to do a lot of things to make this happen, didn't we? I basically just think here that you're a really, really, really bad planner. And I really am thinking that you're really, really, really crap at management. That's fair enough, but even so, just saying it out there, you're a terrible boss. You're a terrible, terrible boss. All those other timelines just succeed in this one. The others might have failed, but we still learned something from every little mistake we made. That's how we could arrive here. What will you do now? With the generator gone, we won't be able to stop the comet. Maybe we don't need to. Maybe we should just all die. I think that would be the best solution. Let's all just die and pretend it's never happened. What are you talking about? Back home, there are plenty of empty buildings. If the dragons took the generators and technology with them, we could revive all the infrastructure, the hospitals, schools, and everything. They could make humanity an offer they wouldn't be able to refuse. You want to relocate them? Do you have any idea how many dragons live here? Sure, they may have never settled on another continent, but we're still talking about millions here. Even if they won't accept them, they will have safe passage to set up a new city. I don't think it will come to that, though. We have plenty of dead infrastructure and roofs to fill. Trust me. We fucked up. There's not much of us left. It's cool. It could be the very first city of its kind, with dragons and humans living together. Think of the children coming out of that. Ooh boy, that is going to open up a whole host of Twitter spats, Me Too movements. Oh god. It's just not worth thinking about. Besides, if we stop the comet, this is about as good as it's going to get. I know you won't settle for anything less. If this is the only way, then I won't object to this outcome. The thought of humans and dragons living together is one that I think bears a lot of potential. Maybe from the ashes of both civilizations, something new and greater can be created. You don't realise the weight that's been on my shoulders from all the things I had to do to make this work. Yeah, again, because you're a terrible planner and a terrible boss. Now that we are here, I don't think I can continue this existence with these memories in my mind. Now that we have saved them, I can finally rest. Maybe I have to apologise. You were right to want to save humanity too, but both me and Reza only cared for one civilization. You never settled for one, you wanted to save everyone. No, I wanted to save the dragons. That's it. But whatevers, we'll just go with it. I guess I was so blinded by wanting to preserve my creation that I refused to see anything else. I'm glad you saw this through to the end. You never stopped believing. Well, I never stopped playing the game. If it wasn't for you, I could never have done this. Now it's on you to make it work. City of dragons and humans. Why is it my problem? I believe you will. Then I could die happily, knowing that they will be safe and can look to a brighter future. No, you can't just die now. How am I supposed to do this without you? Don't be sad for me. I wouldn't have it any other way. No, to be fair, Nia, we can do without her. Again, she's a crap planner. And you have, I have to be honest though, you've been shot in the stomach. You have survived long enough to tell me all this. I know this is, suspension of disbelief plot devices, but still, that's pretty strong. So, you got my kudos there. I'm sure you do a fine job. How can you be sure I will? Because if you don't, I'll hold you responsible for what happens to them, though time and space if necessary. How can you make jokes at a time like this? Well, to be fair, I would too. You only have to see what I've had to do, not what I've wanted to. If we'd met in a different time, a different place, things could have been very different. I have killed you so many times and put you through so much anguish to make this happen. I only long for your forgiveness and understanding, that you can look at what we've achieved now and tell me that it was worth it. Well, I don't think because I have any memories of me being killed multiple times, I'm alright with it. It's fine. Thank you. She closed her eyes, a single tear ran down her face. I moved to wipe it from her and could already feel the warmth draining from Mitsumi's body. She was dead. No, not just dead. Sorry. God, fuck me, what a convoluted plan. After being told of the comet and realising that any of their attempts to stop or redirect it, I can't skip this, would fail without the lab's generator, the Dragon's Council agreed with my course of action, as did humanity. Well, that's just... Yeah, because, hang on, this plan... Hang on, I'll talk about this in a moment. While the rogue population of our city turned out very differently than humanity had initially hoped, all concerns were naught against the possibility of the vast amounts of technology and generators the dragons would bring to revive it. Yes, and the poon, obviously. Soon the initiative to relocate the dragons through the portal was in full force, and I, still acting as an ambassador, helped as much as I could to make it go as smoothly as possible. I didn't go through multiple timelines, I didn't kill multiple people, I just did my fucking job. After a few weeks we had done it, and as the last of the dragons from even the furthest regions had arrived at the other side, I suspend my disbelief here that they were able to save all the dragons, okay? Just not practical. Time for me to come to walk through the portal for the very last time. I looked back to their village and saw all the abandoned buildings doomed to be destroyed. The comet would hit soon. Yeah, well, shit happens. As I walked up to the platform and waited for the portal to do its starting routine, I thought about what would happen now and what would come of this collaborated effort between humans and dragons. I don't know, war, fights, death, same thing really. Just lots of dragon poon in between. I was sure there was a lot of work to be done, especially if I considered the state of the rest of the world, but maybe our city could be a bastion of Earth. Until we get hit by a comet and then we have to do all this shit all over again. Not as the last one remaining, but rather as the first of its kind, and from it maybe we'd be able to grow and spread our influence, and our seed, and our pawn, and everything else. Yeah, you're just repeating the inevitable. Maybe together we can rebuild, and then destroy, and then rebuild, and destroy. It's a vicious cycle, it goes on and on and on. The universe does it, so if you don't believe me, the universe does it. Well... I personally thought that was okay as an ending. I think, to be fair, it was hinting at this all this way, and I think it's nice to have that sort of happy ending, because I like happy endings, to be fair, and I think it's nice to have a happy ending whereby, you know, you look optimistic and you be positive and all that, and I think that's pretty cool. The only thing I'm annoyed about was the whole let's make the... to be fair, and it is only a tiny thing, to be fair. It's let's make the dragons bioweapons. I just think that's a bit stupid, that's all. But other than that, I think that's perfectly plausible, as in a plausible plot, and I think it was relatively satisfying. Very needlessly complicated, and definitely an exercise of how smart am I compared to everybody else type of thing, but it was good. But I think the problem with this is again, I'm very, very negative and pessimistic, simply because I believe that as humanity and humans in general, we have forgotten that we are assholes. Not that we should always live an asshole life, don't get me wrong, but we seem to be afraid of that aspect of our nature and trying to shun it out and ban it and cancel it. And we can't do that. We have to exercise the dark side of us at all times, in small doses or big doses, some more than others, depending on their genetic makeup. At the same time, we've got to satisfy our kindness and generosity and all that. It's a complicated thing. It's a dynamic equilibrium. You know, it changes all the time, but it has to be done. But yeah, I mean, I personally, again, I know I should be suspended my disbelief. I just think the dragon plan at the end is a nice plan, but it'll all go wrong. Everybody dies at the end. But that's just me. That's just how nature works, in my opinion. And hopefully not. And hopefully it was all lovely and everything was wonderful. I wish we got to know a bit more about the individual dragons' endings. Like, did Anna survive and get a cancer treatment? Did Bryce ever find a man? You know, did Remy and Nadine settle with another? That kind of thing. You know. I know that, again, that's trite and cliche, and again, but I like that. If you're going to go happy ending, go with trite happy ending, because it's nice. But I suppose, you know, it leaves it to interpretation. So I'm going to assume, yes, everybody was fine and happy at the end. The only reason why I say that that might not be the case is because, of course, we've seen some quite emotional punches in this game, you know, with Vera dying and her mum being dead and all that. That was really dark. I think it was one of the darkest moments of the game, and I liked that, because it wasn't afraid to pull an emotional punch like that. And the story of Anna and all that stuff, it was, again, very well done, and I liked it. So I liked the game for, I think, getting a good balance of good stuff and bad stuff, you know, trying to make everybody as three-dimensional a character as possible, and I think that was very nice. But yeah, I think the ending plot bit there just was a little bit, you know, a bit sort of, how do I get clever with this? But again, it's only a nitpick. I would easily change it and just say, we're creating dragons because we can, why not? Let's do it. Let's really show that we as a group of humans can do this, and then they should be arguing about what they're going to use it for, and then blah blah blah. Because then you could argue then that with the argument of how they're going to use them, then ultimately they wouldn't have any freedom, so Izumi could then turn around and say, oh, right, I just think they should have freedom and then kill them. But you know, yeah, I will praise this game for relatively good writing, and I was very engrossed in it. I liked the personal stories, the smaller stories with the dragons, I thought they were very nice. I think the bit at the end was a little bit, you know, oh, let's bring it all together, was a bit half-assed, but overall it was nice. It was nicely done, it was a nice visual novel, it was a nice visual story. I enjoyed it. So ultimately, I liked the game, I liked the story. Yes, that's very kind of you to say that, and yes, I did enjoy playing it, so it was good. So yeah, there you go. That was Angels with Scaly Wings, and yeah, overall, not a bad game at all. I've seen the true ending. Hooray! Hope. Yes, I suppose it always ends with hope, doesn't it? It's a shame hope never happens. Oh, don't give me this game. Maybe not, because I'm not going to play the game after this. We did get a mirror as well at the end, which is good. So yeah, overall, it was good. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy this game. I enjoyed it as a visual novel. I enjoyed it trying to be a little bit different with stuff and trying to be a bit deep. The only reason why I suppose, like I said, I'm not so impressed is because I have indulged in a lot of these deep thinking stories in the past, and not all of them because that's silly, but enough of them for me to sort of see the patterns and see where things are going and all that. So it's a little bit harder for me to ultimately go, what a wonderfully eye-opening thing, what a very deep thinking, life-changing thing. I've come to realise now that we can go through those cycles again and again, and it never generally works. But I suppose, to finish things off, that's what the game's also hinting at. You have to do things again and again and again and again and learn from your mistakes until eventually you get it right. And I think that's probably the ultimate message to get from this game. If at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again. Even if that means killing multiple versions of the same version as you again and again and again. You get used to it. And I think that's a fair enough, simple message with all this. If at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again until you get there, and I think that's fine. So there you go. But what are your thoughts and feelings on it? You know, let me know in the comments if you want to. And until then, can I say thank you very much for watching. If there is any extra stuff, let me know in the comments. I can always revisit it and check it out. But until then, very interesting Let's Play. Glad I finished it. And it will be very good to start something new very soon. I don't know what I've decided to do yet. Got plenty of games gifted to me. We'll see. Suggestions are welcome. Please leave them in the comments. But until then, take it easy, have a good one. Hope you're all well, regardless of how I feel and how I am. I do wish you all very well, and I hope you're all okay, and if not, I hope things get better. Take it easy, have a good one, and I'll see you in another video. Until then, bye for now.